back if you want to refer to our class online. So for today, as I was saying, so you're getting into Shavasana. So we're going to do a short settling. And then we're going to, I'm just going to review a little bit out of the Yoga Nidra book about one of the stages called Sankalpa or resolve. And you have in your practice plan for week 3, you are to read an article on Sankalpa. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit about it to you while you're resting now, after the short settling, so that today we're not going to be using that stage. That stage is not going to be introduced until next week, but I want you to kind of start thinking about what that can mean for you once you find out exactly what it is. So here we are, week 3. Bring your awareness to your body and how you feel this morning. So noticing your overall energy and how your body feels. Scan your body from your toes upward. Noticing areas that feel good, other areas that might feel tight or tense. And just making a mental note. Meditation, yoga is meant to bring more awareness to ourselves so we can make the adjustments necessary so that we can be working toward our best version and we can operate in unity with all that's around us. But we first have to know what's going on with us individually. So just keeping in mind how you feel physically and shifting the awareness to the breath. So just making that connection to the natural breath. And knowing as often as you do that throughout the day, you are connecting to the present moment. Those of you who are on the Zoom call before I switched off the screen share, saw a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh that says, "We are very good at preparing to live, but we are not very good at living. We know how to sacrifice 10 years for a diploma, and we are willing to work very hard to get a job, a car, a house, and so on. But we have difficulty remembering that we are alive in the present moment, the only moment there is for us to be alive." And that breath reminds us that we are alive and in the present moment, especially when we get into our heads. So follow your breath now, and when you breathe consciously, again, and I'll sound like a broken record this semester, you are activating the rest and digest mechanism. Immediately, like right now, you were feeling stressed, your heart rate is going down. Sure, you're lying still, that actually helps as well. Your blood pressure is decreasing. And if you think about it, how many times throughout the day can you just say, you know what, I'm going to breathe in, I'm going to breathe out, and you're going to know it. So stay with the breath, stay connected to it, and begin to deepen it. Breathing fully and deeply. Filling the lungs to capacity, feeling your whole body expand and contract with the breath. Take 5 more mindful breaths like this, imagining with every inhalation you are bringing to the body, the mind, your spirit today what's needed. With every exhalation, you are letting go of things that are keeping you from feeling calm, confident, secure, happy. And after those 5 deep breaths, release control of the breath, allowing it to return to its natural rate and rhythm. And I'm just going to read a little bit about the Sankalpa. So in Yoga Nidra, we have 8 stages. Today, we'll be doing 4 of those 8, and gradually throughout the semester, we'll be adding stages in. Stage 2 and stage 7 is the Sankalpa. That's the part of the practice where you insert an intention, something that you'd like to see manifest. And I'm going to explain just a little bit about that by reading. Sowing the seed of change. In Yoga Nidra, perhaps the most effective means of training the mind is found in Sankalpa, which you make for yourself during each practice. According to the author, anything in life can fail you, but not the Sankalpa made during Yoga Nidra. Sankalpa is a Sanskrit word which can be translated as resolve or resolution. It is an important stage of Yoga Nidra and a powerful method of reshaping your personality and direction in life along positive lines. If you know what you wish to achieve in life, Sankalpa can be the creator of your destiny. Whether you want to become a painter, writer, orator, or spiritual leader, you can train yourself through this simple technique. But first, you must have a direction. Most of us are floundering in the darkness like ships without rudders, sails without sheet anchors. We don't know which way we are headed because we are led, forced, and pushed by the tempest of life. Sometimes we go the right way too, but it's usually because we are pushed into it. We have no choice. Using the technique of Yoga Nidra, however, we have a choice in life, and that choice is created by the Sankalpa or resolve. The Sankalpa takes the form of a short mental statement, which is impressed on the subconscious mind when it is receptive and sensitive to autosuggestion during Yoga Nidra. The Sankalpa has to be made not when you are intellectually active, but when your mind is calm and quiet. Before and after the practice of Yoga Nidra, there is a short period dedicated to Sankalpa. The resolve you make at the beginning of the practice is like sowing a seed, and the resolve at the end is like irrigating it. Sankalpa is a determination to become something or do something in your life. Everyone has many desires and ambitions. However, most of them get lost, exhausted, or destroyed. Just as when you scatter seeds in different places, some may grow, but most will not. Sankalpa is a seed which you create and then sow in the bed of your mind. When the mind is clear, the Sankalpa grows very well. If you first prepare the bed with fertilizer and manure, remove the weeds and grass, and then sow the seed, the plant will grow better. In the same way, you have the mind and you have an idea. If you prepare the mind and sow the seed properly, then it will grow in your life and become a powerful directive. So that's just a little bit about Sankalpa. And as I mentioned, in your practice plan for the week, you have an article to read, and you should begin to start crafting one for yourself. And we'll talk a little bit more about it next week. Bring your awareness from my words or from wherever they have gone while I was reading back to your body, and from your body to the floor beneath you. And then slowly begin to move, making your way up and over to a seated position. All right. Okay, everybody. So, good morning and welcome to class. So, I just looked a little bit. I saw that a lot of you had turned in your practice plan. Thank you so much. A couple of you might have been a little confused. You wrote me emails. I appreciate that. Please write emails stay on after this call if you have any questions. You know, the practice plan is meant to be completed in its entirety. I think I've been pretty clear about that. So just, I only saw one, I opened up one and it looked great. So good job to that person. And I'm hoping that you're starting to find ways to integrate these practices into your day. Again, if, you know, one of the best times to do it, if you're an early riser, do it in the morning. If you're a night owl or something, maybe it's better for you to do it in the evening. But if you can find, you know, if you like to do the practices in their entirety, do it at the beginning of the day or the end of the day. Otherwise, if you just need to just insert it, do what you can. So today we're just going to start with just a couple preparatory practices for being able to sit. This week's journal does not include a seated meditation, but next week's will. So you're going to have to start thinking about that. For those of you that have tried meditation, the first, and tried to do it from a seated position, the first thing that goes is usually your feet. Your hips are uncomfortable, and then your upper body kind of falls forward. So here's a couple, we're just going to do a couple of the Pawanmuktasana, which are in this book, The Joint Mobility. You guys have access to this, even though this is not technically a yoga class. You cannot do meditation and be really physically inflexible completely, at least not do it successfully and comfortably. So bring your legs out into base position. We're just going to do a few, then we're going to get to our pranayama practice, which is our breathing practice for today, and then meditation. So sitting up nice and tall in base position. All right, we're going to start with the feet, but we're going to do something called ankle crank. I think last time we did toe bending. So bring your right leg over, grab onto your toes, and start to crank your ankle. Your outgoing foot is straight, toes are pointing upward. If this is hard to sit like this, remember, you can always sit on a blanket right underneath your tailbone. So you're just taking your foot around. So really pushing your foot back. So it's not only your ankle that's moving, but it's your whole foot. Getting the energy moving, releasing any blockages there. And again, this is going to make a lot more sense when we start trying to sit up for 15 minutes at a time without moving. Go ahead and go the other way. And then bring your knee into your chest. Bring your leg out and just notice the difference. And then go to the second side. Again, sitting up nice and tall. Noting any difference in flexibility. Notice how your ankle feels from one side to the other. So meditation is about being aware. That's really what you're doing. You're increasing your awareness of yourself, your body, and of course, those thoughts, okay? Coming to the point where you can clear it all out and be one-pointed and clear-minded, and takes some time. So go ahead and go the other way if you haven't switched direction. And bring your knee in and out. So feeling through your ankles. So I encourage you to do these between now and next week as you're practicing so that you're ready, so that you're not as stiff and tight when we start to do the seated practices. So the next one, we're going to do some hip rotation. So bend your right knee. Using your right hand, cradle your knee, and with your left hand, grab your foot. So you're sitting up nice and tall. And now you're going to do that same thing, but with your hips. And if you're having trouble and your knee feels torquey, just do this. Just so you're doing something in the hip. Okay, if this doesn't feel good, then just do this. Okay, most of us have really tight hips. Good. Good, go the other way. Good, and bring your knee into your chest and bring your leg down. And take a moment, notice from the right hip to the left. All right, move to the left side. So cradle your left knee with your left hand. Sit up tall, work on your core. And then go ahead and go around. And notice, how does that feel in the glute? How does that feel in the hip compared to the other side? Notice what your outgoing leg is doing. If you've got really tight hamstrings, I don't even have to see your leg, and I know your foot's to the side. So bring those toes upward. Good. Go ahead and switch direction. And then bring your knee into your chest. All right, we're gonna do one more thing here. Well, a couple more things. We're gonna move up to our abdomen. Okay, so take your feet, if you're sitting on a mat, take your feet as wide as your mat at least, okay? So we're just gonna kind of open up the spine a little bit, as well as kind of warm up the abdomen. So clasp your hands like this. Just pretend there's like a vat of something in front of you. So this is what we're going to be doing, but we're going to be moving our whole body. So clasp your hands, sit up nice and tall, toes are pointing up. Exhale, come forward. Inhale, come to the right. And then come as far back as you can, keeping your heels down, challenging your core. And then exhale, come around. So we're warming up our spine. So this is part, if you're looking in the orange book and you're like, what did we do? What is this called? This is called churning the mill, and it's in the third series of the Pawanmuktasana in that orange book. So exhaling as you come forward, reaching, so feeling the stretch in the shoulders and the back. Good. And this series has to do with releasing energy blockages in the hips and in the spine. Okay, and go ahead and switch directions. Inhaling back. Exhaling, pull yourself forward. Toes are pointing up, heels are down. So again, sitting upright, being comfortable when you're lying down has a lot to do with how tight your back is, how tight your hips are. So just doing a couple of these. I want to introduce them to you so that I'm hoping that you actually use them. Go ahead and do two more in this direction. Good. Now feel through your whole back and front. It should feel warm. Okay. So we just have two more. So the next one is for the chest and the shoulders. I believe we did this one last time. If you'd like to come in a cross-leg position, or you can keep your legs out, it's up to you. So place your hands on your shoulder. This is shoulder rotation. And this is going to help us breathe more deeply as well, because we're going to open up our chest. So take a breath in. On the exhalation, literally pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Now inhale, bring the elbows toward one another and up. Exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades, trying to bring your elbows behind you. Let's do a total of 8, so 7 more. Inhale on the upward movement. Exhale as you squeeze your shoulders together, trying to bring your arms slightly behind you, really opening up your chest. So we're going to be moving into some breathing practices. And to be able to breathe fully and deeply, you're going to need to have some flexibility in your chest. So I don't know what number you're on. We probably have about maybe 2 more. Then we're going to go the other way. So once you finish up those 8, you bring your arms down. Feel through your arms, feel through your chest, feel through your neck. Place your hands back up there again. We'll do it one more time in the opposite direction. Take a breath in. Again, pull your shoulders from your ears. Inhale back now. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Come up. Exhale, bring your elbows together. Inhale, chest opens. Elbows go upward. Exhale together. And continue at your own pace. I'm going to stop for another 5 more now. Good. And feel through your chest. Notice how the chest feels. And this is, we have a lot of tension here. So the last thing we're going to do before we're going to get to our first breathing practice is neck rotations. So this one you want to just make sure that you're not taking your neck too far forward or back. So just start with, like you're going to make a little circle, like you've got a pen or a marker on your nose. So start small and then start to increase the circumference of your circle Just taking your head or your chin as far up as comfortable, dropping your chin as far as comfortable. And if there's any pain, make a smaller circle. If you haven't already, this is a great time to close your eyes if that's appropriate for you. Probably become aware of all the little crunchy noises that you may be hearing. Again, my understanding is with any of those kind of noises, unless there's pain associated, you're okay. Go ahead and switch directions. Go ahead and do 3 more and then stop. All right, so we're going to come down into Shavasana for our breathing practice. And then I'm going to have you flip onto your stomach for just a second and do something to stretch out your back. And then we're going to go back into our supine position. If I leave you supine the whole time, I will probably lose most of you. So for last week's practice, you had, or for the practice for the week, you had natural breath awareness, natural breathing process, and you had abdominal breathing, okay? So for this week's practice, we're going to build on that. We're going to always start with natural breath awareness. Anytime you sit down to breathe, you got to first notice, hey, how am I breathing? And then you're going to alter your breath accordingly. So we're going to be starting with something new. We're going to be talking about thoracic breathing. So thoracic breathing is the breathing that most of us do when we're stressed. It's breathing that we do when we're like going full force in athletics, or we're on the treadmill and we're going, you know, at a 7-minute pace or 6-minute pace per mile. Unfortunately, it's the way most people breathe because most people are stressed out 24/7. So you practiced abdominal breathing, which is when you were breathing into the lower lobes of the lungs. We're going to start with the thoracic breathing today, and then we're going to go into abdominal breathing. And for abdominal breathing, I'm going to lead you through rhythmic breathing. Rhythmic breathing means you're breathing equally in and out in a 1-to-1 ratio. So for some of you, if that feels weird, you can just work on the abdominal breathing and continue to hone that. But for those of you that have taken this class before and taken yoga before, I'd like you to try to work on the rhythmic breathing and starting to increase the number, but keeping the ratio the same. So please come into Shavasana. I noticed during the opening settling, let me just say one more thing. Some of you were kind of laying like this and like this. No, make sure you're in a position where you're supported. So your back is supported by having something underneath your knees, that you're not tipping your head to the side, because first you're straining your neck, and secondly, you're probably going to fall asleep because that's how you sleep. So you want to be comfortable, but not so comfortable that you're in the exact same position that you would sleep in. Okay, there's got to be something slightly different. So you all are in, I think, the comfort of your own home. So you should be able to have all the props you need. So coming back into Shavasana, now we're going to be here for about 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Then you're going to flip onto your stomach for a second. We're going to be doing just a quick relaxation posture to stretch out the back. And then you're going to come back into Shavasana for Yoga Nidra. So coming into Shavasana, letting the body come into comfort and stillness. And once that is achieved, shift your awareness to the breath. So in Shavasana, your arms are comfortably to the sides, palms facing the ceiling. And the reason the palms are facing the ceiling or slightly inward is you're trying to minimize sensations. So again, for meditation to happen, and it starts with breath awareness, you need to withdraw the mind from the senses. That's what the first step of meditation is, pratyahara, withdrawing from the senses. So by having your hands on your stomach or touching any part of your body, you're keeping that connection. So if you can, try to have the hands to the side, palms facing up or inward. And once the body is still, like I said, shift the attention to the natural breath. Just notice how you're breathing now. Notice where the breath, where your awareness goes. Is it your nose, your navel, your chest? Wherever it is, bring the awareness directly to the chest, the thoracic cavity. And with effort, begin to breathe in through the nose and begin to expand and contract the chest cavity with each breath. So inhaling through the nose, feel the ribs pull apart or visualize how they're going to come apart as you breathe in and come back together. In fact, take that left hand and place it on your sternum. So right on that breastbone. Take your right hand and place it on your navel. And with that hand there, that tactile reminder, breathing into that left hand. So feel the left hand move as the chest expands upward and outward. And feel it fall when you exhale. The right hand should remain still. So just take a few moments here to see if you can separate the breath. So for some of you, this might just be the way you normally breathe. You're like, wow, this is easy. Some of you who might try to breathe more deeply or may have practiced deepening your breath, this feels really shallow for most people. It's hard. So try not to strain, but just notice the rise and the fall of the left hand, visualizing the chest expanding and contracting with each breath. The right hand remains still. There's no movement in the lower lobes of the lungs. Full awareness of thoracic breathing. Concentrating, if you must, on the left hand, keeping the awareness there. If it wanders, bring it back. You can mentally say, I'm breathing into the chest, I'm breathing out of the chest. On the next exhalation, discontinue thoracic breathing. And focus the attention now on the right hand. And begin abdominal breathing, just natural abdominal breathing. So the left hand now remains quiet. The right hand that's on the navel begins to rise and fall with each breath. So focusing the breath from the nose to the navel. You can visualize the breath expanding in the lowest lobes of the lungs, remembering that the action is the diaphragm being flattened out, pressing those abdominal organs out. And then on the exhalation, the diaphragm goes back to its normal dome shape. Now, as you're practicing, start to notice the duration of each part of the breath. So count 1, 2, 3, 4 on the in-breath, and do the same on the out-breath and see what the count is. How long are you inhaling? How long are you exhaling? Now choosing the lower number, it's likely the inhalation. And if you'd like, you can begin rhythmic abdominal breathing, breathing equally in and out. Equal inhalation and exhalation. Staying with the practice, the mind wanders, coming back. Breathing into the right hand, counting or not, just breathing naturally in and out. It's up to you. But staying connected to the breath in the abdomen. On the next exhalation, discontinue rhythmic abdominal breathing and release your hands back to the sides in Shavasana. So discontinue rhythmic abdominal breathing and bring your hands back into Shavasana. And notice any changes in how you're breathing. Abdominal breathing, specifically even rhythmic breathing, is working on expanding your breath capacity, bringing more oxygen into the body. It's going to increase your awareness, your ability to concentrate, improve the function of all the systems of the body. But in the short term, when we practice these breathing practices, we change the way we breathe for a short period of time, with the idea that over time, if we continue to practice regularly, we will start to always breathe deeply and fully, a majority of the time. So bring the awareness now from your breath back into your body. And due to the time, I'm not going to have you completely come out of the supine position, but I do want you to move. So if everybody could just go ahead and bring their knees up to their chest, release their low back. So everybody moves. So bring your knees in, maybe one leg, the other leg. Bring your arms up, give yourself a stretch. And if you are at all uncomfortable, if your back hurt, if your hips hurt, get up, grab a pillow, do what you need to do. I'm going to continue to encourage all of you. This is not, meditation isn't suffering in silence, okay? It's having the recognition of what you need to do to be comfortable. So organize yourself again. So now that you moved a little bit, wake up. If you feel really sleepy, get up and grab a quick drink of water, because we're going to move into the Yoga Nidra practice, okay? So settling back in for Yoga Nidra. And I mentioned briefly, as you were preparing for your breathing practice, about limiting the amount of stimulus on the body, okay? So I probably mentioned before, we spend a lot of time externalized. What's that noise? What's that person doing? What's he wearing? What's she doing? And when we're going into meditation, we need to minimize those kind of distractions. So we minimize the outer world, and we also minimize any sensations against our skin if we can. Okay, so that's why in the practice we ask to have the arms up. So there's a lot of receptors against the palms, the forearms. So having that upward eliminates some of that. Because the idea as we move into this practice and as you do some of the other meditations is that you begin to induce the first stage of true meditation, which is called pratyahara, sensory withdrawal. And for some of you who have practiced Yoga Nidra, it's this feeling that you get where you can't move even if you wanted to move. And it's, for some of you, many of you have trouble probably sitting still or lying still. And maybe the first time it happens to you, you might freak out. But the way the Yoga Nidra is set up, it is set up in a way to systematically relax the body from the gross outer body to the more subtle aspects. We go through the body, the breath, and then as we move through these practices and get through all 8 stages, we start going to the most subtle aspects of the mind, okay? And in that process of relaxing the body stills, which is why this is such a fantastic practice for a boost of energy. Because when we sleep, we often toss, we turn, we move through the night. But in Yoga Nidra, with practice and with effort and with discipline, we learn to lie still. But that discipline begins by being comfortable in the beginning. Okay, so then you'll induce this stage of true relaxation where you can get into true meditation. So make any final adjustments with your body, and make sure too, so those of you that are newer to Shavasana, make sure your feet are comfortably apart. They're about hip width, flopped out. If you have any back pain, I hope that you have something underneath your knees or underneath your thighs. Your palms are rotated so that your shoulder blades kind of come together. This creates a little bit of a curve in the low back to support it, using the upper back to support the lower back. And your head is to the center. Your weight is evenly distributed from one side to the other. So bring your full attention to your position, being aware of your position and all of the contact points between your body and the floor beneath you. Be aware of the heels and their position. Feel the contact points between the heels and the floor. The legs and their position. Feel the back of the legs and the floor. The hips and buttocks, their position and placement against the floor. Be aware of the whole torso and feel the back against the floor. The shoulders, their position and sensations resting against the floor. Both arms and hands. And finally, your head. Being aware of its position and the sensation of it resting on the floor. And take a deep breath in, and on the exhalation, release any remaining tension, settling more fully into all of those points of contact. Scan your body front and back and notice any sensations against the skin. Taking the awareness there, moving from one sensation to the next. Feel the cool air against any exposed areas of skin. Make a mental picture of the space around you. Visualizing the room, the contents of it, and your position within it. Now activate the sense of hearing. And begin to notice all of the different sounds. Moving the awareness from one sound to the next quickly. Listen to the furthest sound away, and then come closer to sounds coming from you, listening for digestive noises, the heartbeat, the sound of the natural breath. Full awareness once again of this life-giving force moving gently in and out. Full awareness of the breath. Beginning now with body rotation. Bring the awareness to the right side of the body, specifically to the right hand. Right hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist. Lower arm, elbow. Upper arm, shoulder, armpit. right side of the ribs, right side of the waist, hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, heel, instep. Sole of the foot, top of the foot, right big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth. Check the awareness, stay with the practice, move to the left side. Become aware of the left hand. Left hand thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger. Palm of the hand, back of the hand, wrist, lower arm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit, left side of the ribs, left side of the waist, hip, thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, heel, instep. Sole of the foot, top of the foot, left big toe, second toe, third, fourth, fifth. Stay with the practice, go to the top of the head. Top of the head, forehead, right temple, left temple, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, right eye, left eye, right ear, left ear, right cheek, left cheek, bridge of the nose, tip of the nose, upper lip, lower lip, where the lips come together. Right side of the jaw, left side of the jaw, chin, front of the neck. Right collarbone, left collarbone, the hollow between. Right side of the chest, left side of the chest, center of the chest. Upper abdomen, navel, lower abdomen, pelvis. Check the awareness, stay awake, move to the back of the body. Right buttock, left buttock, lower back, middle back, upper back, spine. Right shoulder blade, left shoulder blade, back of the neck, back of the head, top of the head. Become aware of the whole right leg, the whole left leg, the whole right arm, the whole left arm. Become aware of the torso, neck, head. Become aware of both legs together, right and left. The two arms together, torso, neck, head. Become aware of the whole body together, the whole body together, the whole body together. Leaving body rotation, shift the attention to the breath, specifically to the rise and fall of the navel with each breath. Begin to notice the navel rise on the in-breath and fall on the out-breath. Become aware of the breath in the abdominal region. Inhale, navel rises. Exhale, the navel falls. Now, keeping the awareness firmly fixed on the breath in the abdominal region, begin to count the breath backward from the number 18 down to the number 1. Beginning by breathing in 18, navel rises. Breathing out 18, the navel falls. Breathing in 17. Breathing out 17 and continuing on down to the number 1. Full attention on the breath in the abdomen, counting each and every breath backward from the number 18 down to the number 1. Stay awake, stay connected to the count and the breath. If the count is in question or lost altogether, begin again at 18. If one is reached, also begin again at 18. Summon the will to stay awake and aware, counting the breath in the abdomen. Now let go of the count. Release all efforts of counting, leaving the breath and bringing the attention back to the sounds around you. So let go of the count and listen for the variety of sounds that are inside and outside of your room. Moving the attention from one sound to the next, letting the awareness move from sound to sound quickly. Make a mental picture of the space around you, visualizing all aspects of your room, the walls, the ceiling, the furniture, but most importantly, your position in relation to all of it. Imagine you can see the room from above, looking down, and find yourself seeing your body lying on the mat in Shavasana, seeing the clothing that you're wearing. Full awareness of your body's position in relation to the room and your position within it. Feel all the meeting points between clothing and skin, blanket and skin, anything touching the skin, including the cool air against exposed areas of skin. And feel the full weight of your body against the floor. So bring your awareness to the back of your body and feel the full weight of your body and the floor beneath you. Draw the attention once again to the breath and begin to deepen the breath. So becoming aware of it and take active control of it by beginning to breathe more fully and deeply. With each full and deep breath, notice how the body is beginning to move, and also notice your regular level of alertness. Remembering what you did prior to this class, remembering some elements of it, but most importantly, where are you going now and what do you need to do now that this class, and specifically this practice, are coming to an end? And say to yourself mentally, this practice of Yoga Nidra is now complete. You may begin to release your posture, beginning to move your hands and your feet, gently releasing your neck by moving your head from side to side, moving slowly, taking care to move slowly, bringing one knee into the chest, then the other, perhaps rolling over to one side, and then coming up to a seated position. All right, everybody. So please, just two things. So like right now it's about like a minute and a half, tops 2 minutes after the time. And I'll try to be really good. Some of you know that I try. It doesn't always happen. But if you could, whatever it is, just know that I'm going to try to get you out of here at the right time. But if you have any kind of an alarm or anything like that, because I saw at least one person, the minute it turned 10 o'clock and it was about a minute early, sat up and took off. Now, if you have somewhere to go, by all means go. But if you don't right away and know that I will maybe only keep you over 2 minutes, don't ruin the end of your yoga nidra. Okay, so try to like silence your alarm, if just knowing that I won't keep you long. If you need to ask me any questions, here I am. I will sit here and wait and talk to you. Email me, and have a great week. And I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. See ya.
Thank you.
Sure, see ya.
Just to let you know, during the breathing exercise, my